All right, moving on to the next song.
I would rather be far under the sea.
So a lot of the same concepts going on here with this vocal chain. So the main thing I wanted to do when making an a cappella song was still write the same way I would write, but just really limit myself to mainly using voices. This is not like a properly arranged a cappella song by any means. In fact, I don't even know where you begin with that, and I'm incredibly impressed by people who arrange that. But I just needed some chords over a melody that I wrote by myself, just in a room, just kind of sang some stuff out, and little things stuck, chopped and moved it, and then added these chords. And you'll notice they're not perfect, you know? Like, I didn't really tune these because it should sound, natural. Some of those lower notes I definitely had to help myself get down there a bit. Here we go. That's low. That's low for me. Just a basic 3-part harmony here.
And if you take a peek, barely underneath.
So there's obviously a lot of tuning happening on these ones. It was less that they were off pitch and more that I just think the tightness of it and the syntheticness of it really works in this context, especially with the more organic ooze happening in the background. And it's less jarring when we go into the more produced section later. Speaking of more produced, I layered in all these vocals. It's a funky chord in there. I also sampled one of my voices and pitched it way low to create sort of a bass tone. Very creepy on its own, but it gives it more bottom and context to everything.
When your thoughts complain and drain and cause you ingrain.
4-part there with the main lead. I also doubled some of the parts just to add more effect saturation. There's an echo here that's sort of being modulated. There's 2, in fact, for this next part.
When your thoughts complain and drain and cause you ingrain.
Yeah, we see it kick off right here.
Find new waters to make wakes soon.
So I took one of the notes where I was just singing kind of open and isolated it to create this little pad. It's kind of goofy on its own, but it helps kind of layer out this next part, which sounds like...
I can only speak plainly incomplete.
The main thing that I think kicks off here, the first thing you hear at least, is this drum situation. So despite the video, this is actually half stuff I recorded and then half samples. Obviously, it's a little bit of a lie in the video of me performing that like all in one take. I definitely spliced this together. I originally tried to use just all mouth noises, but I am not a beatboxer, nor do I make the most convincing mouth drums. Boom. See? I took a combination of my fists hitting the bench and a chamber kick. I have a pitched djembe here. This is an actual snap that I recorded, but I used it for like plenty of other songs too, so it wasn't just for this one. But this is my go-to stock snap that I made. And some pitched drumstick clicking, which I actually just hit against each other, not the stool. And then the shaker comes in later. I don't remember why I bounced those down together, but that is me actually going... But I put them together. I didn't think I was actually going to end up using it, but it stuck. And another huge shift for this part, which I think is fairly obvious, are these like Imogen Heap vocals.
I can only speak plainly incomplete.
So Obviously, I got the main vocal natural here.
Nothing but unsurety, it's simply certainly.
So these are actually sung out harmonies. For the most part, all the notes were sang as intended. Someone asked me on Instagram how I got the Imogen Heap-like vocals. And so one way you could do it, and the way a lot of people do it, and like Bon Iver does it, I'm not sure if Imogen Heap did it this way or not. There are plenty of plugins that do that. I know Isotope has a really popular one. I think Waves has a really good one as well. I really wanted to be dialed in and really specific, so I actually just sang all the harmonies how I wanted and then re-pitched them and reflexed them in Logic. Typically, I would do this now on Melodyne, but at the time of recording these vocals, I did not have that plugin yet. If you have Logic, you should know that you have this thing called the Flex tool, which works as it can change percussion, rhythm of anything, of vocals, of whatever audio you record, but it also can change the pitch. And one of the important things to get the sound is formant shifting. Formant shifting really changes the timbre of the voice. You can make it really bright and kind of robotic, or low and kind of demony. So when you pump some of the formants up on these vocals, it gives it that kind of robotic synthy sound. So I kept most of the notes how they were. I pushed some of them to make some crunchier chords, but the main thing I did was pull the vibrato all the way down so they were really, really locked in.
We could learn to love this world.
So there's some weird kind of like stuff going on in the background. That's this delay modulating these pitched vocals. Fun stuff with automation. And then other than that, I just got everything layered in for the last section here.
Conversation like a kind of interest.
Counter melodies, gotta love them.
And cause you ingress, find new waters to make wakes in.
And that's pretty much it. I think the last thing I'll say about both of these songs are that I naturally wanted to write about like the circumstances we're in right now. It's pretty hard not to think about it constantly. But I wanted to translate some of that energy into thoughts about other aspects of my life that don't involve the quarantine. The first one obviously being about mentors and what they can do to really boost and hinder your progress as an independent thinker. How being locked in a room by yourself or with someone else can shape the way you think in a positive or negative way. And with New Waters, it's a matter of perspective exactly. The song is deliberately about a group of new friends that I met moving to LA and feeling like when you go to a new city, even though I'm from LA, you can feel very much like a fish out of water, no pun intended. And it's easy to isolate yourself. A lot of people actually say that about LA all the time. It's so easy to isolate yourself. But I found it's like most things in your social and personal life, it's a decision. And as I've gotten older, I've found that my time feels a lot more limited. And who I allot that to is a personal, precious resource, right? And the whole point of the narrative of the song is that changing your environment can sometimes be the best way to unlock new aspects of your social life. Even meeting other people online who are making music or otherwise. When you put yourself out there and you're not afraid to make a fool of yourself in front of other people, sometimes you find that you have a lot more in common than if you didn't try at all. And blah, 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 other stuff like that. Anyway, those are those two songs, and thank you so much for checking them out and listening to them. They're both on streaming platforms if you haven't checked that out already. I got 2 more of these quarantined creative songs coming your way. I'll probably start pulling it back a little bit again. Fewer videos, but a little bit more heavy on concept. And besides these tunes, I've been working on a ton of other NOARU stuff, solo stuff, so you can expect an absorbent and maybe even annoying amount of music coming from me soon. Anyway, thanks for spending a few minutes every Tuesday to check out my things. It's been a great way for me to get some steam out, and I really encourage you to be creative, even if it's just like for a second during the day. It can be really, really cathartic. And with that, stay safe, keep making music, and be good to each other. For the love of whatever you believe in, just be good to each other, please. Take it easy. I'll see you on Tuesday.